Hello, and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. My name is Linda, and I am your host. I am an empowerment coach, a spirit junkie, a realtor, a proud mom, and a dog mom. I'm also an animal advocate, a child advocate, and someone that overcame a lot of challenges and trauma in my life. This podcast is packed with powerful content, inspiring conversations with amazing guests who will help you heal, grow, and evolve into a better version of you so you can attract in your best and most empowered life. I don't know about you, but I'm not here for mediocrity. I'm here for an abundant, blessed life. Life does not have to be so hard. That is an old program. We can do less and attract more, and I know this to be true. I love bringing you this powerful information. I hope you enjoy, learn, and grow. Have a beautiful day. Hello, and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. I'm your host, Linda Brand, and today I have a very special guest. She is a light. She's a beautiful light. She has a new podcast. It's called Shift Your Day Job. She's a former teacher turned UX designer. She's an artist at heart. Her name is Brittany Cates, and she's going to share her journey with us from teaching to designer and tell us about her podcast and the other work that she's doing in career coaching. So I'm super excited to bring you Brittany Cates. Hi, Brittany. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell us your little backstory of your teaching journey and how you knew early on that you weren't in the right, you didn't like it or whatever. You didn't love it. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure.
About you.
So, growing up, I was an artist, like you mentioned. And so I had always thought that I wanted to, as a career, do something that involved art, creativity, whatnot. I originally went to school for graphic design, and I have an associate's degree in that. But when I was pursuing my bachelor's degree, I had a bout of imposter syndrome, which I didn't know that's what it was called at the time, but I thought I was surrounded by all these really talented people in my courses at school. And I was just like, oh, I don't have it. Like they're so like creative, out of the box thinkers. And I felt like I worked a little bit more in the box. And
I can
so
relate.
as a college student, trying to figure out like, what do I want to do? I thought I needed to change my major. So I did some exploring and decided to go into elementary education. I had a list of reasons why it was a good idea and ended up making the switch.
That's
Once
funny.
I got into the classroom, it was so emotionally draining for me.
Really?
I started with an internship, and so I had a mentor and I had someone there to help me along the way, but it was just such an emotional ride. And then the next year after I graduated, I was doing it by myself. Like I was in the classroom, I was in a new school, I was on my own, and I was not happy. It was very stressful.
What
For
grade were you
me.
teaching and what subjects were you teaching?
Yeah, I was teaching fourth grade at the time, and so teaching all the subjects.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That is a lot.
yeah, and
It's just funny because if I went back in time, I would have been I probably would have been a teacher, but anyway, and I was going back part-time. But I love kids and different things, but and I feel like I'm naturally good at it. But anyway, so tell me, so you got your associates in graphics. I'm just trying to understand a little bit. And then you were going for your bachelor's towards the graphics design, and then thought you felt like an imposter and said, I should switch and went into teaching. But really, you
yes.
probably should have stayed because you're kind of an artist and you're doing, yes, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went into teaching, you didn't like it. Then what happened?
Well, I was trying to figure out what to do for 4 years. So I taught for 4 years. I finally got to a point where I thought interior design was my avenue out. And so I was like, I'm done. I'm going to quit teaching. I'm going back to school for interior design. So I did that, and it was very liberating, and people thought I was crazy. But I really enjoyed it, learning about interior design. And I got an internship in that process as well, and which turned into a job. And I worked in a furniture store for a while, helped with, setting up the displays and ordering custom furniture and doing sales and working with customers. While I was there, they started doing more like in-home visits, and so I was exposed to that a bit. But I was still needing some more stability because it was a part-time job, and ended up going back to teaching again. So it's just teaching kept like pulling me back in because it was
Mm-hmm.
familiar. It
Right.
was something that I knew how to do. It was something I had credentials for,
Right.
and I
Like
thought,
me
well,
and the real
maybe,
estate. Me and the real
Mhm.
estate.
Yeah. And so I thought, if I change schools, if I change grades, if I change something about it, maybe it'll be better.
Yep.
And it never was. It was all still the same things that I struggled with.
Yeah.
Um,
It wasn't the right fit.
yeah. And I battled that for a long time because I was listening to a lot of outside voices, like, oh, but it's secure. It's like you get a decent paycheck, you
Get the
have,
summers off.
benefits, you have the summers off, things like that. And I always would say, well, it's not enough for me, like that's not
Yeah.
enough to keep me there.
So what was the last like what was the camel like what was the thing that like said that's it. I am not doing teaching anymore. Like I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I had gotten to a point where in my teaching career, I had been doing it for a few years, and I'm like, what's next for me? Like, I'm ready for something more. I'm ready for a new
Like get
challenge.
me out of this school.
Yeah.
I'm done. I didn't sign up for this. This isn't the life I want. Yeah.
And I was exploring things in education. And this is not, I mean, this is something I had done before as well. Like, do I get a master's degree? Do I, get an endorsement for a specific subject and move up to middle school or high school, like, and
Hmm.
everything just like didn't sit well with me, I
Right.
was like, oh, I guess I could, and
Yeah.
um
So you kind of listen to your inner guide, even though everybody else, and you listen to your body who is rejecting this whole thing, right?
yeah. And at the time, something terrible and strange and amazing for me happened, which is called a pandemic, which took us all out of work, out of, the office or whatever, and gave us more time at home, more time for introspection, more
Hmm.
time for um, more flexibility for me to actually really dig in and figure it out, instead of being in the busyness of getting up and going to the classroom every day. And, you know, that in and of itself, just the anticipation of going and being ready for all the kids and like being prepared with the
Too
lessons.
much.
And yeah, it was just too much for me.
Yeah. No,
And
I think they're,
so,
yeah. I mean, I mentor a child, an 8-year old, and I see the teachers and how they are, and I wonder why they're that way, but I kind of assume it's because they're, drained or they're, but I understand. So the pandemic hits and you're home, and are you teaching from home or are from the Zoom? Okay.
I
And then you're,
am.
yeah.
So I'm teaching from home. And one of the things we had to do was build a website for our classroom for our kids to log into and get assignments and whatnot.
Mm.
And I was just loving it. Like, there were all these other teachers that were just so overwhelmed with the technology. And here I was like staying up till all hours, like trying to make it cute and like make it like make sense and like make it easy for the kids to access. And a light bulb kind of went off for me like, I
Ooh, this
really
is fun.
like this piece of it,
Yeah, I was just admiring your website before our Zoom and I love it. You did a beautiful job and everything about your podcast and everything is so professional and beautiful. I'm like, you're skilled, absolutely beautifully skilled. So I wonder, how did they expect the teachers to create websites? Like if you don't have skills to make websites, how did they, I don't,
Well, it was a specific platform that we all had to use.
okay.
And so depending on your skill set and how far you wanted to go with it,
Yeah.
you can make it very basic or you could make it more
Amazing.
interesting.
Okay. So you made a really cool one. You were having a lot of fun with it. And that was like your kind of awakening to, I need to go back to this type of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And then what? What happened next?
Yeah. So I actually have a girlfriend who was a middle school teacher. She had been in the development world of tech for, I want to say 5 or 6 years by that time. And we had reconnected during the pandemic. And I was, just talking to her about all the things going on for me. And she's like, you should look into this UX design. I kind of know what it is, but you'll have to, do some digging or whatever. But she's like, I think it would really like fit what you're looking for. And so I was like, cool. So I started my research and it felt really aligned because it married my love of design and creativity with being logical and working through like steps and patterns and making sure that the website actually works well for
Nice.
people and is intuitive. And so I got really excited about it. And I was looking for different avenues of how I could get into it, how I could pursue it. Looked into a few boot camps. My biggest hang up was I have 3 degrees already, and I had paid off my student debt by then. And I was like, I can't stomach like going back into debt for school to get another degree. And so fortunately I stumbled upon this online program called You Are Techie, and it was aimed at moms trying to get back into the workforce and move in and learn some skills to get into the tech industry. And it was affordable and it had a lot of the things that I needed because I had a lot of basics, right? Like I already had a lot of these skills that I didn't want to go back to school and like relearn again. I've been there, done that. But there were these extra pieces to the puzzle that I needed to dig into and learn about. And so this program provided that for me, but it also provided me a mentor to help me through the times when I felt insecure or stuck or,
Mindset. Mindset.
yeah, the mindset piece. And I would say, like, that's the biggest thing that I got out of that whole program, which I would have never gotten from something like another college course or another boot camp. Um, and so that just put me on the path to I taught from home and then part-time I worked on this and started networking and putting my feelers out and I ended up, long story short, with a job where I'm at right now as a UX designer, and I've been here for over 2 years now.
Oh, that's amazing. So is that a home work from home job?
Initially, it was. Um, since things have died down a bit, we are back in office part time,
Okay.
so it's kind of hybrid right now.
Yeah, and you like it. And so tell us where the podcast came in and a little bit
Yeah.
about your podcast, Shift Your Day Job.
Yeah, well, I listen to a lot of podcasts
Mhm.
and I I love learning and I love for a long
Um,
time I've been working on myself and like going in internally and so I listen to a lot of podcasts in that realm, right? Like self-development, spirituality, mindfulness type podcasts. And I knew that I wanted to continue to like grow my skills in different ways. I don't know. It's almost like you feel like I'm now a UX designer, but what does that mean and what do I want to pursue next,
Yeah.
Anyway, this particular podcast host, she talks about podcasting all the time because she has a course on it. Kathy Heller, we're in the same
Yes. Yes.
circles there. And she just talked a lot about how your voice is needed and important, and your story is inspiring. And I wanted to start a side business of some sort and thought I could really help people because it was such a pain point for me for so long. Like my career, what do I want to do? I'm not happy, but I'm still doing this thing anyway, And I, after I made the shift, I encountered a lot of other women that were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. Like, that's really brave. That's kind of crazy. I could never do that, even though I hate my job, like I'm in it now. Like, I've been doing it for too long. I can't walk
Mm-hmm.
away. And it was really like hard for me to hear because I'm like, no, you can, like you can do
Right.
anything. And so I want to give back, and I want to help people who are in the situation I was in, who are ready for more, and I thought this podcast would be a great avenue to kind of start that journey, like start talking about that topic and get people really resonating with, yeah, oh yeah, look at
Ah,
all these people that have done this. Like, it's
yeah.
not just me, like
So
I'm
many.
just, I'm just learning how much it's such a normal part of life to
Yeah.
start again, to try
Well,
something new, to pivot.
for sure, to pivot, to embrace the change, to you know, whether it's whatever's going on in your life, there's so many life-changing circumstances. But I think that doing what you love or loving what you do is so gigantic, like as far as like your soul and just being happy. Like what a difference in your vibration. Like, I mean, you show up and you're just such a light, like I described you, because you beam when you show up. And, I was not doing well when I lived in Michigan. I changed my whole life, and I was on your podcast, we know. And I started the coaching and I'm still building it and all of that. But yeah, I mean, real estate was never my passion. I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, I was, and nobody's going to use me. Well, if you want to use me, you'll use me. If you don't, that's fine too. Um, but it just, I fell into that. And it's kind of like when someone says you take the guitar and you use the guitar for a planter, right? It's designed for something else, just like you were designed not to be a teacher, to be something else. And someone else is designed to be a teacher and she's like loving every minute of it, right? So I think it's just really important. And I think since we're only here for temporarily, we should enjoy what we're doing, And I think it just makes such a difference in all areas of your life when you're happier,
Mhm.
And if you're in a job you're miserable in, it affects you, and it's not fun, and especially if it's just for the money, And so yeah, I commend you and admire that, and I love that you listen to yourself. You knew right away. You said you knew right away when you started working as a teacher. You're like, this isn't it. I don't like it. And that's fine. So good for you. That's awesome. And then, so tell us about your podcast a little bit. So you have guests. Do you have any solo episodes too?
Well, the plan was to have some solos and some guests, but I'm kind of just going with what I have for now because I'm still getting in the groove of it. But um my podcast is thus far me interviewing other women who have made career transitions, and asking them to, talk about what it was that really like was the turning point for them and what tools they've used to get to the other side and to be in a career that they feel more aligned with. And so my goal is to make it more commonplace for people and to give some tips and advice on, what can you do if you're in a situation where you're feeling stuck,
Yeah,
to start moving.
I love
in a
it.
new direction.
So good. So tell us who some of your mentors, you said you were into self-development and you listen to a lot of podcasts, and I assume you read books as well. Are you a book reader?
I am, yeah.
Now, tell us some of your coaches or mentors or like who inspired you. Like you'd read something and go, okay, I'm doing something, or you'd listen and it's just somebody that you really, enjoy and admire and feel inspired by.
Yeah. Well, one of the first podcasts that I ever really started listening to was the U-Turn podcast with Ashley Stahl. Um, I had taken her career, figure out your dream career course like once upon a time. And then she had a podcast. And so I started listening to her and following her. And she has so many amazing guests on there that really, then, if a guest resonated with me, I started
Follow.
listening to their podcast and following them and whatnot. So I really attribute a lot of, that's my starting point to her and the beautiful messages that she shared and shares still on our podcast. Um,
What was her
uh,
story? I mean, was she like, what was her?
yeah, her story is that she graduated college and got a job working in like intelligence for the government. And she really thought like, oh, this is really what I want to do. And in the midst of it was like, oh no, this is not what like,
Mm.
this isn't really me. Like, and so she decided to walk away from a really great job, and um pursue I can't remember exactly what her first, professional pursuit was after that, but she became an entrepreneur ultimately and wanted
Yeah,
to help other
love
people.
it.
So yeah.
Love it. Okay, so Ashley Stahl, U-Turn podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who else do you
Um,
comes to mind?
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, Kathy Heller, I've been
Yeah.
following her for about, I want to say 3 years now, and
Mm-hmm.
her energy and her vibrance, it really like gets you in the zone and like helps you
Yeah.
reconnect and be like, yeah, I can do this. And I do
Yeah.
believe this. And I do want to live my life more authentically. So
Yes.
she's amazing. And then my my career coach and mentor, Ellen Toomey, she has a podcast called You Are Techie. And she's no longer doing the program or the podcast anymore, but it's still out there as a resource. And she has
Oh,
solo episodes and she also interviews the women that have gone through her, well, not just the women that have gone through her program, but and she interviews other people too. But um, yeah, she just really helped me with my mindset through the process, and I really attribute a lot of my success to the changes from
wonderful.
that. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share or talk about regarding your podcast or your coaching that you're offering or your journey or any inspiration or anything you want to say to anybody?
Yeah. Great question. I would just say, like, ultimately, as I've been interviewing other people on the podcast, um, and there's a lot of patterns that come up and a lot of repetition, which is great. We all need that. But I've just really realized that a lot of what you need to do in order to make a career move that maybe you're feeling a little uncertain about or anything else really is get still and like spend time with yourself and get curious about what it is that you enjoy, what it is that lights you up, what you notice you're really good at. Ask and even ask, the people in your life that you trust, um, to help you kind of narrow in on what it is that is really meant for you and don't be afraid to go with it. There are a lot of people out there that love you and want to support you in doing something that's going to make you happy and make you more fulfilled and make you have a life that that feels good for you.
Yeah.
Because, like we mentioned, your energy affects everything in your life,
Yeah.
and your job's a big part of your life. And
Yeah.
so, if you're miserable
100%.
for most of the day, every day, it's like really going to seep into other things. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you for that. Yeah. I appreciate, I totally agree. Um, Tell us a little bit about your personal life, if you will. Like, what else do you like to do when you're not working and you're not doing the podcast?
yeah. Um, well, I am a like self-proclaimed TV nerd slash junkie. I don't know.
Uh,
I in my downtime, winding down it for me is like watching a good show, but it's not like any show. It has to like really make me think, which doesn't sound relaxing, but I enjoy those
so
kinds of shows or
share
movies.
share which movies and shows we want to hear.
Yeah, I'm on the spot, of course. Oh, there's a show on Apple TV called Slow Horses. My dad and I started watching it Christmas time, no, Thanksgiving time. And he turned it on and I was like, "Oh, this looks boring." And then I like totally sucked me in because it was such a good story and so like
Oh,
twists and turns along
mhm.
the way.
Nice. Never heard of
So
it. Slow horses.
So I enjoyed that. Lately, I've also been watching like a lot of sitcoms, and so like I love to laugh, and one of my favorites is New Girl. The
Oh yeah, my son loved New Girl. Yeah, I've watched it with
Yeah,
him many times. Yeah, I love it too. I mean, it's good.
I
I
just
love
think
it.
it's hilarious. Like I can go back to it
Yeah,
every
because
time and
there's
just laugh out loud. So
yeah, I love that. That's true. New Girl was really good.
yeah,
Who's the one guy in there that's oh my gosh, he used to be overweight, now he's slim. I can't think of his name.
Schmidt.
Schmidt. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
he's probably my favorite, like funny person on there.
yeah, he's
Yeah, Schmidt.
hysterical.
He is hysterical. Okay, so you like TV, movies. There
Um,
was something else I was
yeah.
gonna ask you.
And then of
Oh, go
course,
ahead.
I love interior design. And so my favorite pastime is to go to TJ Maxx and Home Goods and just like peruse and like get ideas and like look and see what's, trending and stuff like that. So
Rearrange and stuff.
and
I love that
yeah,
too. Like I love buying, I bought just these candlesticks and like new pillows, and it just changes up your whole
yeah,
living room and it makes you feel good, and feeling good is everything. And
yeah,
so I love that. So you are coaching, career coaching too. It's on your
yes.
website. And so do you use in your career coaching, do you use Ikigai, the Ikigai model?
Oh. Yes, I have used that in the past, and that is definitely one of the tools that I, I may use in my
I think
coaching.
it's powerful. And if,
I
if
do
if
think it
anyone's
is too.
listening and they don't know what it is, we can share. It's like an Asian, right? Isn't it Ikigai, Ikigai?
Yes.
There's a book out there too, but you go ahead and share.
Yeah, so Ikigai is basically like taking there's this diagram that goes along with it. And it's kind of like a Venn diagram where the circles crisscross each other. And in the center is your ikigai. So it's taking from different strengths and parts of your life and kind of brainstorming like, what am I really good at in this area of my life? And how am I really good in this area? And then seeing what is in common there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
where it all overlaps to find your what they call ikigai, which is kind of your joy in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
I thought it was, so one is what are you good at? And then one is what do you enjoy doing? And then
Mhm.
what does the world need?
I think there's a fourth one, but maybe there's
Oh,
just the three, but
maybe there is a fourth one. But
yeah.
anyway, so when you write down like what are you good at, and there's probably multiple things you're good at, and then what do you love doing? And there's multiple things you love doing.
Yeah.
And what does the world need, which, and then you kind of from there you get an idea of what you can do. So yeah, I love that. So it's just interesting. I meant to ask you that. Anything else you want to share about? Do you have a spiritual practice that you would love to share? Do you have a morning practice that you do?
You know,
Love to know.
I've been trying to cultivate that and get better at it. So what I have done lately is okay, I feel like this is a genius idea and I'm like kind of excited about
You're
it.
so cute. I love you.
So I was watching, a reel on Instagram, and this mom was talking about how her mornings run more smoothly because she has morning baskets for her kids. And in the baskets, there's things for them to do to before school to get ready, whatever. And I was like, that's brilliant. And so I took that and I morphed it into my morning basket for my morning routine.
Mm,
And so I went to the dollar store and I got a cute little pink basket. And I got a couple of things from there. I got like a coloring book because coloring is meditative. Like if you get in
mm,
it, your mind goes into like a meditative state.
mm.
And I got a little journal and I have these, I don't know if you've heard of Tiffany Rowe. She's a therapist locally in Utah, but she's big on IG and she has these little feel, deal, heal cards
Mm.
that I bought from her. And so um, it's like a mantra per day
Yeah.
that and so I put that in my basket. I put some essential oils in my basket. And so I have this little basket now. Um, and I can just walk over there and do a couple little things in the morning to make sure that I'm taking some time for myself.
You could put a
And
little candle in there. That's what I would have too in there.
yeah,
So go ahead. So where do you keep the basket?
I just keep it on my kitchen counter,
Oh,
just for, right when I walk out of my room. I also have my yoga mat right there and try and do some stretching, some movement in the mornings, and then pick something for my basket to do. And because I'm like excited about it, I am more likely to do it, And so just kind of finding something that works for you that's going to get you
mm-hmm.
excited or get you looking forward to it.
Do you have a meditation practice?
Um, I don't have an official meditation practice, but something I have been doing more recently. I'm working with a coach right now, and she's taught me about PQ reps. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but
No.
it's a new concept for me. But I have an alarm on my phone, not an alarm, but just a reminder. And every 2 hours, it's a reminder to do my PQ reps. And basically, what it is a moment of mindfulness. So, just like doing this with your fingers and concentrating on the feelings of your fingertips, the ridges, um, and it helps you be present in the moment and really just focusing on one thing. And a PQ, this is just one example of a PQ rep, and it's the easiest one for me right now, but it could be even just like when you're driving and you see a beautiful sunset and you take that moment to appreciate it. It's rewiring your brain so that you are more present and you're not caught up in the the craziness or like, the monkey mind. You're kind of moving your mind, like you're consciously moving it to focus on something that's
I
more
like that. I like that so
aligned and
much.
centered. So that's something I've been working on. Also, sometimes in the mornings, I'll turn on like a sound bath and just try and, you know, listen to that for a few minutes. Um, but yeah, I think it really is just taking those little moments when you're in something. I think I've become more mindful when I'm at work and I'm feeling stressed. I'm like, okay, like just
Yeah.
taking that moment to be like, I'm coming back to center. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. I'm safe. And then just reminding yourself that all all that's real is in the present. Like
I love
anything that's
that.
real is right
Oh,
now.
that's so powerful. Do you have a religious background from your childhood?
I
And
do.
because you live in Utah, does that mean you're Mormon?
Yes, yeah. I grew up Mormon or Latter-day Saint. And I'm from Florida originally,
Oh,
and
yeah. You told me
so I
that.
didn't grow up here in Utah, but I always wanted to go to BYU growing up, and that's what brought me out here to Utah, and I've been here ever since college. But I grew up LDS, and my family, back in Florida, my extended family, a lot of them are LDS. And so, yeah, I have that as a,
Do you believe, I mean, are you still religious that way, or are you more spiritual?
I am,
I
I'm
know
kind,
nothing about the Latter-day Saints. I'm just
yeah,
asking, like, because most people
yeah,
like seem to shift and just not be so, I don't know what
yeah.
what they believe, but
I, I'm at a turning point in my faith. But I do believe in the core, of I believe in God and Jesus Christ. I believe in the atonement. Um, I believe that God is love, and that we are here to love and serve one another. And
yeah.
I feel like a lot of the things in my self-discovery process have really been parallel, like to those beliefs. And that those are the things that really resonate with me. And I think a lot of working in this self-development space, it's just the terminology is different, but
Yeah, similar.
it's a lot of the same principles. And I think we all need oftentimes to hear the same thing a different way for it to resonate with us
Mm-hmm.
more fully. And so it's been interesting to kind of recognize those parallels when the vocabulary is different, but the message is the same. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way to put it. Um, well, this has been amazing. A lot of fun talking to you.
yeah, you too. Thank you.
Tell everybody where they can find you and your podcast.
Awesome. Yes, so I am on Instagram as Career Shift Brit. Um, and my podcast is called Shift Your Day Job. It's anywhere you listen to podcasts. So, and then I have a website, brittanycates.com /home. And you can learn more about me, my podcast, and also the opportunities there are to work with me as a coach. That is a newer piece to what I'm doing right now. So that's continually evolving. But yeah, I would
Yeah,
love to, like, even if it's just a discovery call, to get to know people and see if there is a way that I can help in their transition or their desire to make a career move. I would love
absolutely.
to be a resource. So,
Wonderful. I love it. It's a great thing. I mean, we all need that. So many people I'll talk to and they'll be like, well, I did hair for 10 years and then I went into this and then I went, it's like they've changed multiple times. So, yeah, the world is our oyster, right? We can change.
yeah,
My son, he had an engineering degree, went into finance, now he's back in engineering. It's like, we get to do that.
yeah.
Um, So thank you so much for sharing and being here and also having me on your show. That was a lot of fun, and I felt honored being your first um, interview, and they can go there and listen to that if
Yeah,
they haven't already. And yeah, I'll just definitely let you know and put all your links in the show notes, let you know when it goes live.
sounds great. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate
You're so
being here.
welcome. You're adorable. I love you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Empowered the Podcast. It means so much to me that you are here, that you're listening. I hope you learned something. I hope you found value. If you enjoyed it, please share with someone you think would benefit from it. If you'd like to connect with me, feel free to contact me on Instagram at Linda Brand Coach or Linda Brand Homes. You can also find me on Facebook. I would love to hear from you. Send me a message. Also, I'm happy to do a free discovery call if you're looking for a coach. I would love that. Also, if you could leave a rating and review, I would love that. It would help me so much to grow this audience and help as many people as I can. Have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day and live empowered. Thank you.